Hey guys, this is Hell Hades. This is another Raid Shadow Legends video, and I think a really important one, guys. So we're going to do a video today talking about top tier epics that don't require books. Okay, loads of people say to me, I don't have enough books, I'm struggling. It's probably the hardest resource to get in the game. You can pick up books from events and, you know, all sorts of other stuff that's going on. Generally, it's quite a top tier reward to get yourself a book. So they do exist in the game. But you can't go out and just hard farm them in a dungeon or anywhere like that. And if they sell them in packs, I don't know if there's any packs right now. There probably is because we've got a... yeah, so if they sell them in packs, it's normally a pretty greedy priced pack to get them. Honestly, when I was hard whaling in like the first year of playing this game, I probably spent more money on books than I did shards, honestly. Because when I got a champion, I wanted to try and push them to their limits. Yeah, so this video is about champions, epics in particular, that don't need books to still be effective. Again, before we get into the list, let me just talk you through some rules. Think for yourself in some situations. You need to ask yourself, what am I using the champion for? Does the book that I'm about to put into that champion actually enhance what I'm trying to use them for? Okay, don't just be this kind of completionist, I'm going to book everyone out in full because I can. Think to yourself, did I just land the books in the skill that I needed because that's what I want to use the champion for? And if you're thinking to yourself, you know what, this is going to be an arena champion, just kind of go along the rule of, am I actually going to use a reduced cooldown on this champion in an arena fight? Is it required? Because normally it's not. Arena fights are normally like bam, 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 everyone's dead, and you use all your abilities once if you're lucky. You don't use any of your abilities at all if you're unlucky. That's pretty much the way arena goes. So if you're trying to like complete books to absolutely fulfill a need of, I just want to get the additional cooldown, just think to yourself, did I need it? Is that going to actually help me in the arena fight? Similarly with skills that have got a percentage chance to enhance something. So like this skill here, debuff chance improves as I book. Now, if that's the main ability, like with Gord here, the main ability I want him for is his freeze. So absolutely, I want books to make that a 100% freeze. Okay? Whereas if we was to pick somebody like, let me try and find a good solution. Let's say Seal. So I absolutely want Seal to stun. The decreased speed is nice to have, but it's not a must-have. Okay? The stun is the main thing I want her for. But do I really need enhanced decreased speed ability? I'll tell you what, it's a nice ability, so I'm not going to say don't do it. But these are the questions you have to ask yourself when you're deciding whether to book someone or not. So let's get into my list then. Champions that I think are epics and don't require books. Let's go from the top. And these are all champions that are played and can be played in end game content. So Varusk. Varusk actually came into his own for some Doom Tower content. And he's one of those champions where actually booking him doesn't really enhance him much at all. You absolutely don't want to book the cooldown on his A2. Like, absolutely don't want to do that at all. Because you actually just want him A1 in all the time. And actually, now we can fix AI. You probably just turn his A2 off completely in most content. So you just have him A1 in because the A1 gives him more turn meter. And therefore, he can get back an A1 again. And therefore, he's healing your team more often. So, in fact, I would like to book the A1 just for harder hits, but it's a luxury. It's a luxury that most people do not need. There's no books here, so actually I think it could be a strong healer with no books at all. Okay, so next one on the list. This is probably one of the most sought-after epics in the game, certainly for Fire Knight. If you're trying to get past stage 20, you know, 21 to 25, Allure is straight up the best champion in the game for Fire Knight. Straight up best champion in the game. And the funny thing is, books make no difference to the reason that you want her in your team. She gets a bit of extra damage. You won't build her for damage anyway because she's so stat hungry to just get her to work that she's not going to be doing any of your damage. So you want to build her for accuracy, for speed, for survivability. The last thing in your brain is to build her for damage. And you have to crit. So there's another stat you need. Crit, accuracy, speed, survivability. You just don't have the luxury of stats to build her for damage. So forget this. I mean, you're going to bring other people that do decreased defense anyway. This is the hit, but you're not building her for damage. So books, don't worry about them. Allure, best champion in the game for finite, doesn't need any books at all. Next one up is going to be the Brawler. Occult Brawler, Ogrin Tribes. One of the best champions to throw into unkillable teams, general clan boss teams. Half decent for dragon runs, just for throwing poisons out there. Potentially for Ice Golem if you're trying to do a block revive ability here. But basically, his main poison proc on his passive doesn't require any books. It's exactly the same whether you book it or not. There's a luxury of additional percentage chance to land your poison on your A1. And if you've got a plethora of books, you can throw them into this. But Occult Brawler works absolutely great without books. As I say, the A1 is a luxury if you can make this land. Another 10% is nice. But honestly, the A2 requires nothing at all because you don't really want it being used. And again, with the AI change, I think for Clan Boss, you turn the A2 off and you just have him A1 in the whole time because all you want is poison, poison, poison. So, as I say, if you've got an abundance of books, great. Throw him into try and get the A1 percentage chance up. But he's absolutely fine without books. Okay, next one up is going to be a undead champ. And this is Gord. So probably some people will argue the case here that he should get books. Now for me, I'm thinking, what do I want to use Gord for? It goes back to my opening kind of blah, blah, blah at the start. And I was like, what do you use him for? Now, a mid-game player, an early game player, you might use him everywhere, okay? And if you use him everywhere, then you probably would love to get your cooldown here, maybe your cooldown here. But honestly, you don't care about this A1. So you don't care about all 5 books. You don't want any books here, okay? You do want your increased attack. You do want your turn meter fill, but generally that's an arena ability. And you don't need books in an arena ability because he's going to do it once. If he's got to do it twice, then your arena team is not built well enough, honestly. So this is an arena move and he does it once and that's it. And then the revive's on such a long cooldown anyway that if you're ever using this twice, damn, again, you probably need to look at your teams. So for me, Gord is exactly the same with or without books for the reasons that I would use him. Okay, and if I was going to put books anywhere, I would stop absolutely as soon as a book lands here. I wouldn't go beyond this. So if a book lands on the A2, I would absolutely stop. So yeah, for me, Gord, good with or without books, but I wouldn't invest books in him, and I think he's still going to be just as strong for you. Next one on the list then. So this is one of the end game epics that are out there right now. Doom Priest. Literally nothing about her kit needs a book. Okay. A1, she doesn't do damage for me. I don't build her for damage. I build her for speed. I build her to rotate her abilities as quick as possible. And I don't care about this silly buff. You've got an increased attack buff, which is okay. I don't care about booking it out, honestly. And everything that I care about in a kit is in this passive, and it doesn't require a book. Doom Priest, exactly the same for me, with or without books. And you will use her in nearly all endgame Doom Tower levels, nearly everyone. She's one of the best champions in Clan Boss against Affinity Clan Bosses. She just has a go. She cleans off all of the nastiness, and then you keep going. So for me, absolutely fine with or without books, but I wouldn't book her at all. Next one up. Now, this might be a kind of either or for some people, but I think about what I would use someone like a Skytouch Shaman for, and honestly, she's generally going to be used as a go second arena champion. So she's in immunity gear. Everyone else is not. She's your quickest champion. You take a hit. You take debuffs. She cuts into the fight. And then you cleanse your team. And you put revive on them. You put block debuffs on them. And then the rest of your team start to play. Okay, so she's in there really to go to relieve your team of all the nastiness. Cleanse it off. And then they go. So to book it out, honestly, makes no sense to me because once she's done this once, we're not coming back to this twice. This is just for damage multipliers. It doesn't do a bad job, to be fair, but we don't care about her damage. She's not built for damage. She's built to save the team. There is a bit of healing here, which could be okay. But for me, for what she does, I wouldn't use books on her. And she's great without books. So Skytouch Shaman in the mix. Next one up again. Some people, it depends where you're going to use this champion, okay? Sorry, wrong faction. Depends when you're going to use this champion. So if you're using Basha as a go second arena champion because you're going to lock out the enemy. And that's one of his best use cases, by the way. A bit like a mini Warlord. Warlord's the best champion in the arena right now. Because he locks out the whole enemy team, and they're just like, well, I'm going to come at you with my A1. And then next guy's like, yeah, I've got a big hit, but I'm using my A1. So Basha does the same thing. He just does it on a... just puts them out for 2 turns instead of a full lock. And again, if he's going to be your arena champion, you're only going to do this once. Once you've done it, you'll cycle back round to your other champions, and then they're going to nuke the enemy team. So depends what you're using him for. If he's going to be like a big faction war champion for you, a big Doom Tower champion, using the block buffs, using the weaken, then I would argue you should book him out. But if he's going to be a go second arena champion for you, then don't worry about books. Okay, next one. Now, this is an interesting one because one of the best champions in the game for arena, and she's also one of the very few, and I'm talking, I did a video on this just a couple of weeks ago. I think there was 2 which do not need books to land 100% decreased defense. It's quite incredible, actually. So not only has she got one of the best abilities in the game on this ability on this A3, you absolutely do not need books to get the full value out of her A3. Her A1, do we care about books here? More damage? She's not going to be built for damage. Her A2, you get a bit more debuff chance of stealing buffs. I guess that's okay. But the A3, the only reason you would book her is to get a reduced cooldown here. And that's only if you're going to use her in a whole bunch of dungeons, okay? But for what she's made for, the arena, she's the only... There's literally was like 2 or 3 champions, including all legendaries, that could do this 100% without books. It's massive, actually. It's a massive, massive ability. She's going to clean all of the buffs from your enemies. She's going to drop their attack, drop their defense, and you don't need a single book to use her at a full ability with this. So, again, Madame does not need books and is still super endgame. Okay, next one up. High Elf. Similar. A lot of these are arena champions, by the way. Mainly arena champions. Battle Sage, very similar to what I said with Skytouch Shaman. You honestly would not use her outside of the arena. I don't think there's much of a use case outside of the arena. But what she got, places increased attack, then cleanses, and the increased attack can't be removed. That's what she's in there for. She's in there as like a go second champion. So you get frozen by Torment. She then puts an increased attack on you. After she's done it, she then cleans any more additional freezes off, and then your team go. So that's mainly what she's about, and I wouldn't put any books into a Battle Sage at all. The other reason why she's in your team is for this aura. Auras don't get affected by books, so Battle Sage, just as effective, I'd say, with or without books. Okay, we've got another one, and this is an interesting one, actually. So one of the best go second arena champions in the game. You build her as an absolute unit, a tank, ideally with some decent resistance. Build her reasonably quick. And then what you want to do is build everybody else incredibly slow, but as absolute nuke machines. I've done videos on this in the past. She's a really fun go second champion for the arena. So what happens? The enemy team nuke everyone apart from your Cardinal. You plot a mastery so that she gains a bunch of turn meter when other people are taking hits. She flies to the front and she revives everybody with full max turn meter. They all jump ahead of the enemy and then they literally just pop everybody down. It's a really fun tactic. And books will not help that at all. Don't need them. Won't need them at all. Again, if you're going to use her as like a faction war champion and you feel like you're going to need a bunch of revives, then maybe you will book this A3. But for a main purpose in the arena, I'd say no books required, does the same job. Super fun champ as well. Cardinal. Okay, last one on my list is actually going to be a very situational one. And this is just to make you think. So think about, why am I going to use this champion? Okay. So I'm calling out Farrakhan, wherever he is, the fat man, for most situations. So if you're going to use him in Clan Boss, 100% book him. If you're going to use him as your dungeon runner, book him out. If you're going to use him in the arena, the job that he's going to do for you, places increased crit rate, increased crit damage, and giving your whole team an ally attack, doesn't need any books. So that's where I'm saying, like, think about the use case. Why am I going to use a champion? Which of their abilities am I calling into play for this bit of content? And the interesting part with someone like this is he's going to do the same buffs and at the same rate, whether he's level 60 or level 40 or level 30, whatever, yeah? So some champions, you actually don't even need to 6-star. A lot of the ones I've talked about here, depending on the use case, don't even necessarily need to be a 6-star, albeit you do gain more stats and all that type of stuff, and you open up banners and all the rest of it, yeah? But just think to yourself, am I booking someone for the sake of it, or am I booking someone for the use case which I need right now? And you'll find that actually there's a lot more champions that fall into the same bracket as what I've just said there with Farrakhan, depending on what you're using them for. Okay? And there's even more that if you get lucky and you land a certain skill with a book, you'll think to yourself, now I should stop. I don't need to book that other ability because actually it's not what I want to use them for. Okay, guys, that's going to wrap it up. Hopefully that's helped you out. If you want to see more stuff like this, or if there's any particular videos along these sort of lines that you want to see, comment below. I will try and get through them. I've been Hell Hades. I will see you later.